Hello, this is Shalimar Steinberg, and today we're looking at the step-by-step video for our isometric views assignment. If we go ahead and look, we have the example of what our drawing is going to look like. And remember that isometric views are a way of showing a three-dimensional object while still using a two-dimensional drawing. That means that most of these dimensions, like this one, for example, is actually 12.5. And this one will not dimension correctly, so you're not required to do the dimensions for this assignment. We can look at the written directions. So we're opening the PS-AB drawing file and saving as last name isometric. We're going to the drawing units again, and we're saving that to 2 degrees of precision and unitless, which is what it's already set at, so we'll say OK. And then we're going to, we don't have to worry about setting up a dimension style because we're not doing the dimensions for this. So we're going to come back into our drawing, and the first step is to get us into isometric format. So we're going to turn on our grid display, and we're going to right-click on Snap Mode and go to Snap Settings. Under Snap Settings, we want to make sure that the grid is turned on. We're going to switch the grid snap to isometric snap, and we're going to make sure that the grid Y spacing is set to 0.5. And we can either change this one as well or just leave it as it is and it works fine. So we'll go OK. At this point you'll see that your grid and your cursor on the screen have switched. Remember that in isometric mode, if you hit the F5 key, it will rotate your cursor between the top view isoplane, the right side view, and the left side view so that you can get all of your lines drawn in correctly. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn on orthographic mode, or ortho mode, and that just makes it so that we're going to follow the straight lines at the angles that we need to. We can turn it off when we want to draw our circles or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and start off in the top mode, so like this, and you can see that the grid is shaped kind of like a diamond at this point. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use Snap for just a second to get me kind of lined up with one of those edges. And then I'm going to type, and I'm going to do the 12.5 distance. And actually it's a smaller view there. There we go. And it doesn't have to match up with the grid, that's actually fine. So 12.5. 12.5, and then I can either type 12.5 again, or I can just type C for close. And I've got the base of my object, and I'm going to shrink this down. So I've got the top, sorry, of my cube. It would also be the exact same as the base for my pyramid and the top for my rectangle there. Okay. Next I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to F5 to get into the right side plane. Get back into the line command and draw my point that goes straight down, again 12.5. Because this is a cube, all the measurements are going to be the same. And over 12.5, and then up to where they meet. Again, F5, and then the left side view, and I'm going to start a line there. My 12.5, and then the closing of the shape here. At this point, the cube is basically drawn, but I need to add in my hidden lines that show where the rear edges would be. And this just shows the parts that we can't see. So I would go to my hidden line layer and switch over and draw in those edges. And you can see that my line type scale is slightly off, so that my objects are looking a little too far or too small. So I'm going to type LT scale for line type scale, and that controls the size of the dashes and breaks. And right now it's at 1. For the size of this object, I'm going to go with about 5. and it looks pretty good there. I could also use the scale factor once I've decided what I'm going to scale it at in the drawing to be exact with making sure they're the right size. Okay, so there is my cube. The next thing that I'm going to do is go back to my object line layer, and I'm going to go ahead and do the ellipse. Now it's important, as I said in the lecture, that with the ellipse you have to type the word ellipse, because if I were to go just to the ellipse command here, you'll see that in the command line it does not give you the option, even when you've clicked, for an iso plane or iso circle. So I want to type the word ellipse, and when I do that, now I see the option for iso circle, which is what I need when I'm doing isometrics. So I'm going to go about where the center would be, and if I drag it out I can see that the rotation is wrong, so I'm going to hit that F5 to get to the top view, and then I'm going to type my diameter, or radius, which I said was 0.625. No, it wasn't. Sorry, it was 625, not 0.625. Let me try that again. Iso circle 6.25. There we go. Then I'm going to get into the line command. I need to make sure I have my quadrant O snap turned on, and I'm going to hit the 5 and then type down 12.5. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here. At this point I can either draw another ellipse, or I can just use the copy command and copy the one that I already have, and I'm just going to pick the point where it attaches on there, and then go down to where it will attach on at the bottom. Now, the example drawing does not show this, but the rear of this should actually be a hidden line, because it's something that you can't see from the front. So there's a very simple way to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the drawing here, and I'm going to hit trim, and I'm going to trim out this bottom section here. Then I'm going to go ahead and mirror this top section, and I'm going to use just the mirror line here to get the exact center, and then I can just click on this one and move it over to my hidden line there, just like this. Then I can go ahead and do my hidden line showing the center up to here, and oops, I got that on the wrong layer, so I'll go in and switch that as well. And now I've done the cylinder. At this point, then I can do my pyramid, and I'm going to go, I'm already on the object line there, so I'm going to go back to the top view, but in this case I'll be drawing the bottom of my object, and I'll do that same diamond shape, so 12.5, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a line straight up from the center, and I need to rotate for that, and that line is going to be 25 in height. That is one wall of my pyramid, and then I'm going to go ahead and just connect the corners to that line, and so I don't have to type a specific distance for these, I'm just making them match up. And I have now drawn my pyramid. Again, I need to switch these back to over to the hidden line layer. And I've got my pyramid shape as well. The final one is going to be the rectangular cube. I'm not going to draw that one out because it's exactly the same as the regular cube, except that your long sides are going to be 25 in height. Then I go into my B-space title block. I'm going to double click in here. I'm going to zoom extents by double clicking the mouse wheel. And I'm going to choose a size that fits for them. We found that 1.5 inch equals a foot works pretty well. One thing you'll notice is that I'm not seeing my hidden line dashes, and that's because in the paper space there is something called PSLT scale, and that is either turned on or off, and it sets a line type scale for the dashes that's in paper space as well. So we're going to turn that to 0 in order to turn it off. And then we're going to do a regeneration in the screen here, and you'll see that now I'm seeing my dashes the way that I should. And I can go ahead and click out of here, and I would put in the scale that I used, which was the 1.5 inch equals a foot down here. All right, there you go.